Welcome back. This brings us to part number 4, the expressive persuasive essays and responses. And the place that we're going to begin, of course, is with the worst essay first. And so we'll be flipping to page 33 pretty quick. If you're not clear on what page we're on right now, we are on page number 19, as you see right here. So go ahead and flip to 19, and let's just get a sense of what the question is. Now, this one is a persuasive or expressive question. So you've got to be very convincing in your argument and in your presentation. And of course, you need to always do that. But in this case, you have to pay special attention to being persuasive. So a careful reading of the second question shows that we're being asked to describe a job we wanted as children and then describe whether or not we still felt the same way about it later in life. So you may have changed your mind or you may not have changed your mind, but you have to be very convincing and decisive in the way in which you present your response. You can't be on the fence about it. It's an either or proposition, and it's got to be a compelling case. So in the first essay, I'm going to title that one How to Receive a 1, and let's go ahead and read it and see why. So we're going to be going to page number 33 right now, so let me open this up and let's get to our first response for page 33. So this response says the following. It says, being that I am in sales, I base my career on hard work. But I got older and I realized that hard work is not everything, so I decided to go in the job world as a principal in the education department. I feel that teaching something that I like best I will enjoy even more because of the fun I will have doing it. Becoming a teacher will take hard work and time. I have all the time is willing to give more. My God. There are two fields that I would like to teach, and that grade school or high school. If I can teach there or be a coach, then my goal will be for file, or for life, I guess. This has been my life, and now it is my dream. Okay, well, let's jump on back to page number 19, if we could, and let me just pick that persuasive essay back up. And this really is about how to receive a 1, and let's turn the page and sort of analyze this together and see why that is. You can read the rest of the things that I'm skipping over in the first margin right here. I'm just going to write out the word fail. It looks like I, but it's not. It is in fact a fail. And let's see why this essay fails. Well, the first thing that we see is a sentence fragment. Being that I am in sales, period, you can't do this because you have to have a complete thought. That has to be followed by a subject-verb-object sentence, so that would be offset by a comment, and that introductory phrase clearly is not working. I base my career on hard work. Now, here's where it gets insulting. But as I got older and I realized, we have to keep our, tenses clear here. I realized that hard work is not everything. So I decided to go in the job world as a principal in the education department. My friends, this is downright insulting. It's insulting because it makes it seem as if sales is somehow more difficult than being a principal. It says I feel that teaching something that I like best I will enjoy more because of the fun. Yes, of course. And of course, who cares would be my response. We see this part, becoming a teacher will take time and hard work. I have all the time, is willing to give more. This is what we call a comma splice right here. A comma splice is basically where you take two independent sentences and staple them together, and that's what this writer has done right here. So you'd either need a coordinating conjunction like and, but, nor, for, or a semicolon or something, but this is a comma splice. You want to avoid those at all costs. We have even a run-on sentence up here. Look at this. I feel that teaching something that I like best I will enjoy more because of the fun I will have doing it. This needs to have a comma or some kind of separation right in here because one sentence is just sort of running over on the other. There's all kinds of very odd capitalization going on here, like this teaching something right here. Here we have a cap. Down here we have no cap. So, I mean, the point that I'm trying to get at is this essay is bad. If I can teach there or be a coach, then my goal will be for file. Very odd phrasing right here. Not only that, but you have somebody who wants to be a principal at one point, somebody who wants to be a teacher at another point, and then somebody who has a coach. I don't think I need to go on. In terms of focus, there's no focus, and it answers questions nobody asked. It's disorganized, it's not supported. You have a lot of non sequiturs, meaning ideas that don't follow one another logically, going from principal to teacher to coach. Way too conversational, too many fragments, run ons, and splices, and it pretty much misses the point entirely. And I won't spend any time on one. It's clear that this is a one. I think that you should take the time to read this, but basically it's just, one failure after another. So another failed essay is the next one. We're on page number 20 right now, and we're going to look at a score level 2 essay on 33 in a second, but let's recall the task. We're being asked to reflect on a career choice as both children and then as adults, and either there was a change or there was not a change. And I guess I titled this essay, Giving Up My Life as a Quitter. So let's jump to the appendix really quick on 33 and take a look at that, see what horrors it brings. And so I'll just sort of move that up, blow it up in your screen, not quite that big, but big enough. And it says the following: When I was young and not too bright, that's a great way to begin, I wanted to become a microbiologist. I worked in a school that had an extensive science department that no one was using. I was enrolled in physiology class at the school, and my teacher seemed to sense my curiosity. Mr. Burroughs, my teacher's name, would allow me free run of the labs. I'm I feel safe already. All the school's equipment were made available to me for the asking, and I asked for a lot. It wasn't long before I was making slide prees for microorganism. I photographed what I saw and developed the film in the photo lab. It was a wonderful year, but as with all things, it came to an end. My family were forced to move to another state, and all that goes with a relocation. My passion for science and microbiology was silenced for years. I am now a man all grown up. Many things have come and gone in my life, yet still deep inside an ember burns of a long past, half-forgotten dream that won't die. I have enrolled in college, and I am working hard. Perhaps someday my half-forgotten dream will become an reality. Okay. Well, let's jump back to where we were, to Persuasive Essay number 2, and that appears on page number 20, as you see right down there. And well, I guess I would title it Giving Up My Life as a Quitter for the following reasons. If we go through paragraph number 1, you can kind of get the sense that we do get a topic right here, and that topic is about a young person who did want to be a microbiologist at one point. And we're already opening with an error. The person has selected a preposition. What we need is an adverb, which is to, T-O-O, so review your homophones. And you read the rest of this. I worked in a school that had an extensive science department that no one was using. I was enrolled in a physiology class. Okay, so you get some topic development. We know that the person wanted to be a microbiologist, and sort of, so far we're okay. Remember, what I would advocate doing on this one is brainstorming between childhood and adulthood, and maybe this person did think about that to some degree. Uh, we have some, misspellings in here that you can see right here with sense and curiosity. You want to try to avoid, those if you can. And now paragraphs 3 and 4 I've contained in one box. Now, here we have, for example, development about biology, which is fine because now we're going to get some background on biology. And we have Mr. Burroughs, my teacher's name, we need a possessive right here, would allow me free run of the labs. All the school's equipment, once again an apostrophe, so we're running into apostrophe problems right away, were made available to me for the asking, and I asked for a lot. This sentence right here is just brutal. We need to have either separate sentences or proper punctuation, and be careful always with a lot right here. That a lot always has to be 2 words, a space lot. It's a dead giveaway that you don't know how to write if you're fusing a lot together. Also notice this, it wasn't long before I was making slide prees. Well, I don't know what prees mean. I mean, I guess that means preparation. I don't know. So be careful with the language that you choose. Subject-verb agreement 2 down here, I'm right by my family. My family were forced to move to another state, and all that goes with relocation. This should be was, because that's supposed to agree with family right here. And all that goes, apostrophe S, my goodness, that should be goes, My passion for science and microbiology was silenced for years. That should be were, because these are two items right here, and we need a were. Well, what's happening in here, first of all, stylistically, is that the person is stomping their way through. I don't see any branching to speak of, so it's just stomp, 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 all the way through that essay. Even worse is the fact that why was this person's passion for silence silenced for years? Was it because of the relocation? What did they move to the moon? Was there no science department? Everything is so unclear in this essay that it's almost hardly worth reading. But read we must. In the final paragraph, we have, "I am a man all grown up." That is way too conversational. It basically fails in its presentation right there. Don't do stuff like that. "Many things have come and gone in my life." I guess it should be a period right here. "Yet, comma, still deep inside, an ember burns of a long past half forgotten dream that won't die. I have enrolled in college and I'm working hard." Well, oh my goodness. Well, if you look at this essay, it's not convincing. There's nothing about really a clear distinction between why that dream failed in childhood, reasons of the move and what have you, and now might be reawakened in adulthood. If you turn the page now to 20, it looks like it's 22, we have, "Perhaps my half-forgotten dream will become an reality." Well, let's hope it's not, because if you look at an reality, remember right here we have an apple and we have a car. The basic rule is if it word starts with a vowel sound, then it takes an. If it begins with a consonant sound, then it takes a, and so an reality is just silly, and I don't know if I want this person working around chemicals and other things. So in looking at the way that it's going to be scored, this is a very unfocused essay. You don't know why this author couldn't continue to pursue science. It's a very oddly sequenced and poorly planned essay, too. It could have worked. It really could have worked, but you need more description about what happened with the lack of pursuit of science. And there's little support for anything described in the essay, and you can read the rest of this and just understand that it just fails one after the other. Now, having said that, it might have passed had this author been more clear about what they were writing, especially the childhood, adult distinction. It might not have received a 4, because remember, we're on an either or path here. Either you did change or you didn't change. And this is saying, perhaps my half forgotten dream will become a reality. And so maybe even with the changes I proposed, it would only come out to a 3, because we have to have a clear distinction between childhood and adult dreams, or the fact that they didn't change and why they didn't change. So again, it's either or. You can read all the stuff in here about it too. It just sort of on topic, but falls apart. Okay, this brings us now to a score level 3 essay, and we're going to jump to page 34 in a second. Remember what the question is. If I didn't write it in here, just remember what it is. You have to describe a childhood dream that you have for a career and an adulthood dream that you have for a career, and state whether or not there was a change. And I guess I would call this essay Not My Job. So let's jump on over to page 34 if we could. Go ahead and turn to page 34. And let's take a look at it. And on 34 we have this 3-point response, which would pass, but there are some problems with it. "As a child, I wanted to become a teacher. This desire was fostered by my personal experiences with loving, caring teachers of my own. I also was taught by my parents a love of reading. Books were one of my most favorite things. I had a need to become, I had a need to be around other people, which helped me decide that a people-oriented career would suit me the best. Teaching seemed to be a respected profession. Another appealing advantage was having the summer off." Oh yes, to swim and tan. "As an adult, my views have partially changed. I did become a teacher. I still have my love of books and reading. I am still very much people-oriented or children-oriented. I am saddened as an adult by the lack of respect given to teachers. As a child, teaching seemed to be such a noble profession. It also is disappointing to see the budget problems, low self-esteem, of oppression, professions, schools closing, and the public's misunderstanding that teachers are well paid. My childhood aspirations will mesh with my adult ideas on teaching when the financial aspects of an education are solved. Okay. It's an either-or proposition here. This thing is not moving in that direction. Let's see why it receives a score point of 3. Okay, so I am on page number 33, as you see I'm on page 22, rather, excuse me. I'm on page number 22. Let's turn to the next page and go to 23 and sort of dissect this one and see why it receives a 3. As a child, now, well, right there we get a very small but effective left branch. I wanted to become a teacher. This desire was fostered by personal experiences, so we've got a topic about childhood and childhood dreams about being a teacher. I was also taught by my parents a love of reading. I want you to look at this carefully. This mid-branch right here is not effective. It just disrupts the flow of the sentence. Listen to it. I was also taught, comma, by my parents, comma, a love of reading books. You know, it's better to be active, avoiding these by phrases. You know, my parents taught me a love of reading because, or something like that. Books were one of my favorite things, wanting to be people-oriented. All of this is, you know, along with having the summer off, an appealing thing. So, well, clearly what's good about this is that it clearly distinguishes childhood. And I'm trying to write childhood in there. This thing is not cooperating like it should. But it looks like child should. But we've got childhood in this paragraph, which is fine and good, and it's a distinction. And now we move to paragraph number 2. As an adult, my views have partially changed. Well, here's our problem. We need an either-or proposition. And even though this paragraph is in fact about adulthood and will describe something of a change, the problem is that it's describing a partial change. We do get our left branching sentence, and this is an effective practice. Look, and you've got as a child, this is about being a child, this is about as an adult right in here, so there is a clear distinction between childhood and adulthood. The problem is that it's only describing a partial change. Looking at branching, we have I'm saddened as an adult. We get a little mid-branch in there, and that one is fine. By the lack of respect given to teachers as a child, we get another left branch. Teaching seemed to be a noble profession. It is also disappointing to see the budget problems, low self-esteem, etc. So it does develop the topic okay, but the problem and where it falls apart is that it is not decisive enough. Now, the concluding sentence, my childhood aspirations will mesh with my adult ideas on teaching when the financial aspects of the education are solved. This is an effective conclusion with a no branch, because it's just, really to the point and very crisp, I guess you could say. The problem that even though it's effective stylistically in those terms, it's introducing another topic, and it's introducing commentary that is not relevant to the topic. So you'll want to avoid that. So if we move now from page 23 over here to page number 24, well, there is some partial information about childhood to adulthood career perceptions. The organization is adequate. There's some support. The word choice is okay. Stylistically, there are a lot of branches, but where it fails is that it is not decisive. You are asked to be either or, and this person was somewhere in the middle, and you can't do that. Okay, well, the next place that we're going is to the score level 4 essay. This will be found on pages 34. And why does this one succeed? Well, what we'll see is that it does describe a clear change from childhood to adulthood in terms of career perceptions. And that's what's necessary. You've got to be either or, and this one clearly is. So why don't we jump on over to pages 34 and 35 and take a look at that. Okay, so go ahead and turn to it or flip it on your screen, however you're manipulating this. And it says the following. It says, when I was old enough to learn what a psychiatrist did, let me get my pen working. When I was old enough to learn what a psychiatrist did, I was fascinated. I was an avid reader and an observer of people. I concluded that society was full of people with problems, many with peculiar behaviors, and I would learn how to fix their brains. I thought the brain was like a broken appliance. As soon as I was told that the brain determined how people behaved and managed their lives, I decided that I would simply learn to adjust the broken organ. I pictured myself sitting behind a desk giving sage advice and consolation in addition to doing surgery on the cranium. As I matured, I began learning more about the profession. I majored in psychology in college and worked in institutions during the summer. The more I learned about the field, the more I realized how little we knew about the complicated brain. Let me pause and remind you, this is supposed to be a persuasive essay, to persuade the reader to believe in your childhood aspirations and versus or in accord with your adulthood career aspirations, and this is quite convincing to me. The ignorance in the field outweighed any advances they have made. I changed my mind about the profession as my learning about it increased. I weighed all of the theories, many conflicting and unsupported, and decided that the career would not suit me as an adult. Cases of individuals remaining in institution or under therapy for long periods of time and sometimes permanently discouraged me. My youthful attitude of all fixed it was a bubble that burst. I'm not surprised that ideas on careers change from childhood to adulthood. When the media glamorizes certain professions and storybooks have happy endings, certain careers appear more rewarding than they actually are. With maturity and learning, exposure to the realistic facets of a career can change its appeal. My view of the job has certainly changed. Okay, well, let's dissect this 4 so that you can write as closely to a 4 as possible. And I'm back on what appears to be page number 24. And notice, let's go through it stylistically first. I think that would be effective. Here's a left branch. When I was old enough to learn what a psychiatrist did, comma, that is an adequate left branch. Many with peculiar behavior. This is a nice mid branch right here. And then finally, we get yet another left branch to sort of break up the monotony. So stylistically, this thing is already succeeding. Now, what's in between is this. When I was old enough to learn what a psychiatrist did, I was fascinated. This is clearly about childhood, and that's what we're supposed to be writing on. The rest of this is extremely clear and convincing evidence about this person's interest in working as a psychiatrist. And when you go to the next page, 25, more convincing evidence and descriptions are included. I pictured myself sitting behind a desk giving out sage advice and consolation in addition to doing surgery on the cranium. This is a very visually appealing, well, maybe not so appealing, but it is a very visual and active description, and there's no branch in it. So we went from branching to no branching, and this description is quite effective. Now let's move to the next paragraph, paragraph number 4, and this is clearly, as I matured, more about like late adolescence or even adulthood. And I'm sorry my pen isn't working. Let me try to force this thing to work so it's at least clear. So this paragraph, as I matured, is about adulthood. And so in this sentence, we start with our left branch again, and it's an effective technique. Instead of saying childhood and adulthood, as we saw earlier, it's rephrased in a more professional manner. I began learning more about the profession. This person was working in institutions. This person realized that the brain is complicated. This person realized that the theories are a lot, by and large, conflicting and unsupported, maybe. Whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. And that there are some discouraging figures, perhaps, for people who are under care. Well, the point of this is that the adulthood portion of this paragraph is not only clear, it is not only supported, but it is also either or. You are asked in this question to be either or, and this person has succeeded in doing that. And you can go through and sort of look at the branching yourself, but the sentences certainly are effective. Now, page 26, on the next paragraph, we get the concluding paragraph, as you can see here. And this concluding paragraph, let me just write that on here. The conclusion clearly states that there are changes from childhood to adulthood. Now, it may introduce information that's, sort of off topic, but, since it's a persuasive essay, maybe you can get away with that a little bit, because look at this non-branching sentence right here. My view of the job certainly changed. This is extremely decisive. This is extremely either or, and that's what you're supposed to do in this essay. was describe a childhood, adulthood, and then either a change or no change, and that's what this person has done. So when we look at the criteria that we've been working with all along, you can see that this is a very focused essay that's on childhood and adult career perceptions, that it's very well organized, that its support is offered, the word choice is adequate, a lot of good branching in here, and it succeeds completely in its purpose because it was either or. Just to remind you a second, in the way that I would construct this, I would, since I was asked for either or, I would have child on one side and adult on the other. And I would certainly brainstorm first and then logically arrange these points within the paragraph. And in addition to that, of course, I would be mindful of branching, because in that essay, if I may have you just jump back to it really quick on page number 34, so go ahead and turn to it. If I can have you skip to page 35 or 34, if you just look at this essay and just go through the branching, you can see how both left and right, mid, and no branches are certainly and effectively used throughout this essay. So you can look for the branching in here, look for the branching in the final paragraph, and see how it just ends with no branch at all. It's just a very effective way of concluding. Okay, so you and I have traveled through the persuasive, expressive essays that you will be asked to write, and what we're going to do next is go to our concluding video, and that concluding video will be part 5. Let me find the page number for you if I may. And that's on, looks like page number 27. So why don't you get to page number 27, and I'll meet you back here in a little bit.